Wales versus the Wallabies. What a game this one ended up being. 34 points to 39. I didn't think I was going to be saying that partway through the game. There's a lot to go over in this one. Of course, as we do in these review videos, guys, we'll of course be checking out what happened in the first half, going through the scores, some highlights, some statistics from the game, and then afterwards seeing how on earth we somehow got to that final result. On to the first half then, where we expected Wales to want to get off to a really clean start. They wanted to make the most of that beginning. It didn't go that way. We lost Lee Halfpenny in the warm-up session. I think this is the second game now across this autumn series. Lee Halfpenny meant to start, but actually gone out with an injury during the warm-up. So there was a bit of a swap immediately for Wales, with Josh Adams having to fill in that fullback position and Sam Costello moving onto the bench. So 3 fly halves now for Wales across that 23. It was already looking like there might be a couple of issues in that regard. In terms of the actual game starting then, Wales not off to a great start, dropping the ball straight from the kickoff and then giving away a penalty not that much longer as well, which gave Australia the first chance at points in the game, taken by Ben Donaldson. Of course, he unfortunately missed his kick against Italy, so a bit of redemption for him today in terms of the kick and doing a little bit better. Managing to get that one, put Australia in the lead by 3 points to 0. Wales had the opportunity to close that gap up. They had their own penalty in the 7th minute. The referee very whistle happy in this first half, really sort of slowing down the game. Very choppy first half. They did have the opportunity for a penalty, one at the scrum, but they decided to go for the corner rather than the 3. We've spoke about it in Wales's tournament so far. Just take the 3 points, sometimes better to get on that scoreboard. They went to the corner, went for that maul, split off round the back, but the ball was knocked on, so no points for Wales there. The only 3 minutes later, though, they got the first try of the game. Jack Morgan getting his. Wales going through the phases. Much faster recycling of the ball in this game than we saw last week against Georgia. Kieran Hardy was coming on quite early in this. Thomas Williams got a big head injury in that first half, so Kieran Hardy came on, actually really helped speed up the ball a lot. But they were going through the phases quicker, got some big carries, making big meters, and eventually Alan Wynne-Jones, actually the one to hit the gap in that Australian line. Not very well defensively set for them. Managed to get the offload to Jack Morgan to get his try. 3rd there in 2 games for him, so looking really good. Anscombe got that conversion as well. I did think in the build-up to this one, though, actually that there was a couple of penalties missed by the refereeing team. I thought there was 2 instances of crossing, one less obvious than the other one, but I did think there was 2 instances of a crossing here for Wales players just literally standing in front of the Australian defence, but not picked up on by the refereeing team, so Wales got away with that one there. Over the next 10 minutes, we had a couple of exchanges of penalties and stuff. We had the Hawkins high tackle, which Australia converted for them as well, and then Wales got their own penalty as well for Australia not rolling away. So around that 20-minute marker, it's 10-6 to Wales. The point score's looking better for Wales. The game looks like it's more in hand for Wales. I do feel, though, at a couple of occasions, though, that the referee is being a lot more favourable to Wales in this game. I don't know why. There was a couple of things I was spotting on the TV the TMO wasn't picking up on, which I thought maybe was a bit harsh against Australia, a couple of these instances. In terms of the opening 20, I just sort of said the ball speed much better than last week, but the Australian not committing any men in the ruck. So you're not going to be winning those turnovers anytime soon, but normally when you do that, it means you have the extra men out wide. But Wales are making those carry meters. Normally when you don't have the men in the ruck, your defensive line should be more stable. So that'll be something we want to see Australia build on a little bit into the second half. Not long after this then, we had the try from Faletau. Again, off the back of the scrum, Wales using this set piece as a very big platform for them to launch today. Spreading it wide, the Australia defence absolutely out of shape. They got it wide over to Faletau, who did go over for the try. In the 26th minute then, Wales extended that lead out even more with a penalty coming from a no-arms tackle from Australia. We've seen these silly penalties from Australia in the past. We really thought they were trying to work on them a bit more. Unfortunately, not this game. So at the 25-minute marker then, it's 20 points to 6. Wales are really beginning to extend that lead out. We're feeling the Principality get a bit of vibe about it, a bit of energy around it now. Wales actually looking like they're going to be able to do well at this game. That is until Australia get on the front foot towards that 30-minute marker, going on the best attack of the game, having phases. Probably the first time in the game we've seen them actually have consistent phases without making too many mistakes. They win a penalty advantage. They carry on playing, but eventually goes for a knock-on. Quite a long advantage. Surprisingly, a couple of the other advantages have been called off. This one went on for quite a while. They went for that kick to corner and got the driving maul. There was a big driving maul, very long, sort of really diagonal, managing to get all the way up to the try line, where Fainga'a and the rest of the maul begins to turn and goes down. Now, this one was given as a try. Fainga'a got the try, but I was again quite surprised by the referee in this one. It looked to me very much like the maul is going forwards. It's clearly going for a try, and Kieran Hardy just came in at the side and took out Fainga'a, trying to stop him from scoring. I'm very surprised that was just given as a try, not penalty try, yellow card. We've definitely seen it in the past with the exact same thing. You get a yellow card in that scenario, but maybe because they awarded the try as opposed to the penalty try, it somehow wasn't worthy of a yellow card. Not sure, but again, kicked over by Donaldson to get us to that final score at 20 points to 13. Not to say there wasn't left to talk about. 35 to 40 minutes. All Wales going back on the attack, trying to get that scoreboard back on their side a little bit more by that halftime marker. Again, big carries, well worked. We saw Rio Dyer making big ground down the wing, carrying it all the way up to the line where it was illegally stopped by Jake Gordon getting his yellow card. Not the first time we've said that this year. Just being offside at the line, getting the tackle in on Kieran Hardy, knocking the ball on, but he was done for being offside in that regard. Now, Wales went on the scrum. We had about 5 scrum resets, waiting to see how it would get on. We saw Faletau eventually pick up the ball from the back of the scrum, offload it to Kieran Hardy, gets over the line, but was held up. So 5 minutes of consistent pressure, a lot of time being run off that yellow card, and Australia managed to survive without conceding anything. So we go into the halftime, 20 points to 13. Wales have looked like arguably the better team for a large majority of this game. I do think the referee's been helping Wales quite a lot, to be fair. I mean, they probably have wanted a few more points to this with how much the referee was being onside, especially in the set-piece areas. It looks a little bit more like he's favouring Wales. And a couple of the open play decisions, I've definitely seen calls this series as well that maybe I would have seen penalties go against them. So they're getting with a favour of the ref so far in this one. Some stats then at halftime. Possession, Wales 60% to Australia's 14. Definitely felt like it. Australia really struggling to build phases together. Territory 57 to Wales. Penalties 4 to Wales, 3 to Australia was the stats on Amazon's own Sage stats, but there was definitely 3 penalties conceded at the scrum at the end. So I feel like there's actually more penalties going to Australia there than their own tracking system keeps tracking of. Now, one thing of interest to hear, dominant tackles, Wales 0, Australia 4. So even though Wales are actually on the front foot, going forward, making big meters in the carries, it's sort of showing that Australia are actually doing slightly better in the way they're defending. Wales, when they're actually on the back foot, are conceding big meters. They're conceding the room, but it's normally Australia's discipline for penalties or handling errors, letting down their own attacks, as opposed to it feeling like Wales are actually stopping them. So it'll be something both teams will want to work on going into the second half. On to the second half then, where this one really just sort of went off the rails. Australia actually had the opportunity to get some points out right at the start. We saw Reece Hodge attempted to go for one of his 60-metre penalties, barely missing, hit the post, definitely had the range to go over, but didn't manage to get it. First yellow card coming in here in the second half of 3 that we get to see in the second half, coming in against Tom Robertson. This was for numerous penalties at the scrum. James Slipper, quite a few in that first half. Unfortunately, Robertson being the one that got yellow carded. Now, the impact of this game off the back of this, Australia's down to 13 men. They're struggling in the set piece. They're struggling in these forwards. And Wales begin to find an enormous exploit in this second half. The driving maul for Wales just becomes an incredible weapon for them. We see an enormous amount of points coming off the back of it. We see penalties now across the next sort of 15 minutes, all coming from Wales. They won penalty, went for the line out, went for another driving maul, won another penalty. Australia just didn't have an answer for it. It even led to Jack Morgan getting his second try of the game. 4 in 2 games for him now, so looking really good. Huge driving maul, and Jack Morgan being the one at the back of the maul, managing to get over for that try. Rio Dyer managing to get his try as well, again coming off the back of a set piece, spreading it out wide, getting out to Rio Dyer and getting over for the try. And Australia just not coping with it at all. The defence looks completely out of shape. They have no answer to this weapon coming in from Wales. At least that's what we think. That's what we think. When the Australian subs begin to come on, this game took an enormous turn. Now, at the end of that Rio Dyer try, at that 52nd minute mark, you will see no further scores for Wales. No further scores going on there. At this point, it is 34 points to 13. That is an enormous gap where most teams, especially in the 55-minute marker, you're not expecting to lose a game from here. Australia to come back, extremely impressive. It began out with those Australian forward substitutions coming on, making a big impact into this game. Australia made a huge surge, kicking the ball further upfield, pinning Priestland back, who came onto an injured Anscombe, who was having a good game. Real shame to see him go off. But they managed to grab Priestland and just throw him back over his own try line, resulting in that 5-metre scrum. for them. Australia on the front foot with all these substitutions coming in now. They spread the ball wide. They've won the scrum. They're moving it outside. Where we get to see now Kanita Wase out on that wing going over for his first try of 2 of this game. We did say in the preview video how much I was expecting that boy to get over the try line in this game, but absolutely phenomenal from performance from him in that second half. Did get that try. Conversion was missed by Lolasio, so they managed to close that gap up now. They're now 16 points behind Wales, which is still a lot to make up. 20 minutes to get effectively 3 tries is a big ask for Australia, but the subs are making a big difference, and it's putting Wales under big pressure, trying to make a few more mistakes. Now we're seeing drop balls, missed kicks, players offside. We're beginning to see the pressure really begin to mount on Wales. In the 66th minute, there was a huge interception on Wales' attack coming in from Pete Samu. Come on from the bench again, enormous impact there. Looks like he's away, but tumbles to the ground. It looked awkward as he did it anyway. We go back to review, and Tipuric has definitely tripped him up. Yellow card comes in for Tipuric and puts Australia back on that front foot. Australia kicked up towards the corner. Of course, Wales down a man. They set up for this big driving maul. Australia completely throw them off. They go out the back. And now Kanita Wase goes over for his second try of the game. This one converted by Lolasio, drawing Australia back to 9 points behind. Still a tough ask. It's still a lot to expect from an Australia team with only 10 minutes to go. But then 2 minutes later, Australia have another huge surging attack using those backs, having that extra man. It's just letting them get all the way back up the field. They're kicking on, huge pressure against a Wales backline that's really struggling to deal with it. They manage to get themselves another penalty. They kick it to corner, go for the driving maul. It gets over that line and drops again. Sort of similar to what I said in that first half about Kieran Hardy. Surprised to not see him get a yellow card in that one. This one is given as a yellow card, goes against Ryan Elias for collapsing illegally, along with a penalty try. So that draws that point score even nearer. And then in the 77th minute, we get the final try of the game to seal out just a dismal second half performance from Wales. Lonergan coming in here for his try. Australia on the huge attack. Again, who else? Now Kanita Wase. Again, just brilliant. Wales looking in disarray, still struggling. Tipuric hasn't come on yet. They're still down to that 13 men. For some reason, Wales did have possession and just kept kicking it back to Australia. They made the most of it, got that try, converted again by Lolasio, taking us to that 34-39 final score. The action wasn't over though. Australia trying to seal out this game for the final 2 minutes, as often as we do see it in international rugby, give away a penalty for sealing off. You won't see it all game until that final 5 minutes when refs decide to pick up on it. Wales go for that kick to the 22, go for the driving maul. It doesn't work for them. They tried to spread it out wide. That goes to ground, and who else but the man who just scored his try? Lonergan goes back over, rips the ball, and kicks it off the park for that final score of 39-34. And Wales will just be absolutely furious. I'm already waiting to see the comments and the Twitter page about Pivac needing to pack his bags. That's astonishing for them to lose that one. 26 points unanswered coming in for Australia. An incredible comeback for them. For what was a shaky first half, they didn't really look set in that first half. I can only give props to Australia for that one. But Wales, man, after some of the issues we spoke about during that Georgia game, this was not the game you wanted to be losing, and especially not in the fashion like that. In terms of final stats, Wales still winning that possession, 56% possession. Penalties conceded 9 to Wales or 12 to Australia. And we say about taking those 3 points. I mean, Australia missed 5 points towards the Potes, but we mentioned that first half, taking the 3s can seal out a game if it's not going to go your way. Number of turnovers, 10-8 to Wales, so they're still winning more of the ball, but it was just those yellow cards for Wales made so much more of an impact compared to what happened to Australia over the course of their yellow cards. So congratulations to Australia. As always, guys, drop down in the comments your thoughts on the game. I always enjoy having a read through them. If you've enjoyed this one today, remember to leave it a like and subscribe to the channel just to keep up to date with all the latest videos as they come out. England versus the Springboks coming up soon, so make sure you're ready for that match report when it comes out as well. I'll see you all next time, guys. Bye-bye.